Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us on today's webinar. My name is Carolyn, the marketing lead at ChainSys. ChainSys is a leading provider of enterprise data management solutions, offering best in class products with zero coding and templated approach for all your data needs. So today we are presenting to you Kickstart your Oracle EBS R12.2.x upgrade with ChainSys Smart Data Platform, presented by Sid Azar. A little housekeeping before we get started. Feel free to shoot your questions in the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel, and I'll bring them up during our Q&A session in the end. Okay, before I hand over the session to Sid, let me give you a quick introduction about the ChainSys Smart Data Platform. ChainSys has one single platform with different components. So we have a smart data platform and a smart business platform. The smart data platform consists of three different unique components called the data zap, the data zen, and the data zens. Data zap is nothing but your movement tool. So you can move from any source to any target system, be it a PeopleSoft to an Oracle Cloud, or an Oracle EBS to an Oracle Cloud, or an SAP ECC to S4HANA, or an SAP ECC to an Oracle Cloud. So we can help you in your data migration and your setup migration. And in addition to that, we bring you activities like your big data ingestion, archival of all your data from the on-prem application, your archival strategy and data reconciliation, data integration as well. All these covered by the Data Zap application. The next application is the Data Zen application. So Data Zen, our concept is all about, get clean and stay clean. So we have a very powerful data quality engine that ensures all your data is not only clean, but we also ensure that as an ongoing process, all your data is kept clean. So we have a very powerful MDM application, which is rated to the likes of uh, software reviews as a number one tool, and it stood ahead of Informatica, Oracle, Dell, Boomi, etc. So the next product is our Data Zen's product. So Data Zen's basically takes care of all your data privacy and your compliance, be it your PII information, your GDPR, California Consumer Protection Act, OIOO, etc. Data Zen's is also your analytical tool, giving you a data catalog of your data and great visualizations of your reports. So one of our value addition that we bring to your table is that we have built over 10,000 plus templates or adapters for Oracle, SAP, and various different ERP applications so that zero coding is involved in any of the data movement or any of the data management process. So apart from the smart data platform, we also have the smart business platform. So we have the smart app builder and the smart bots. So the smart bots is an RPA based automation testing tool. It can, be used for your functions of testing during your SITs or for data testing, or it can also be used for UAT or regression testing. You can use this during a patch release um, using a templated bots as well. The Smart App Builder helps you build any extension, be it on a mobile application or a web application, on top of any standard application. So we have this rapid application framework called the Smart App Builder, which will help you build the required mobile or web application on top of the application. The Smart Data Platform or the Smart Business Platform is built with no coding at all. You don't need any technical person to access the application. Very simple, easy to use, simple drag and drop features. So most important ChainSys Smart Data Platform is a SOC compliant, ISO 20001 certified, HIPAA certified, and also CMI certified product. So with this quick introduction, I'm going to turn the time over to Sid, our presenter for today. And Sid comes with over 20 plus years of experience in various industries such as oil and gas, manufacturing, automotive, etc., bringing strategic data management solutions to various enterprise clients. Today, Sid will give us a quick walkthrough of the Oracle EBS upgrade process Also, he will showcase how ChainSys smart data management solutions can assist in streamlining the upgrade process, as well as help deliver a target landscape that is built on cleansed and trusted data. Over to you, Sid.
Caroline, thank you so much and appreciate that nice introduction to our products. Thanks everybody for joining and greetings from Atlanta. That's where I'm based. It's a beautiful day here, although it's going to rain a little bit later on in the day. Hopefully you all are having a wonderful day. Let me move on and just kind of give you a synopsis of how chances can assist you in your journey, what the steps are, and how we can utilize some of our solutions and products alongside the Oracle upgrade process to give you a streamlined approach into your next target application, being Oracle. So here, first we're going to look at the upgrade roadmap as part one. Part two, how does our ChainSys approach works on this upgrade? And then of course, please feel free to put in your questions. Hopefully we'll have a little bit time toward the end of this session to answer some questions. First thing is, and personally, this is very exciting for me, and I want to say kudos to Oracle for extending their EBS 12.2 platform out to 2033 in terms of premier support. So as you know, there's a lot of concern in the marketplace with the economy the way it is, and also specifically with large enterprises with multiple geographies, multiple instances running, and just a horde of different business functions running with a lot of customizations in place. People are really concerned, hey, what's going to happen? Am I going to have this or not? So a couple of years ago, Oracle announced 2031, but now it's officially 2033, and hopefully, beyond that as well. Now, some of the nice things, in this, Oracle's offering enterprise command centers, online patching, all those type of things. That's coming as standard functionality. So it's pretty nice to have. So if you, let's say there's a lot of enterprises sitting on 11, or you're on a lower version and you're debating what your next move is, there's obviously the clear path. If you're ready for it to go into the cloud, we can certainly help go into Oracle Cloud with the ERP, or we can go with the EBS approach. So having said that, let's just kind of look at how we go about doing it. So in terms of the path, what we have figured out, when we're helping our enterprise clients, the very first thing we say before you get into anything, I mean, it's like before you get into investing in the market, just know about what the play is there in the market. You don't want to go in and sink in, 50,000 of your personal dollars into some company which is not going to bring you any benefit on the stock appreciation, for example. In a same analogy here, with the assessment, you really get an impact analysis of what the current environment looks like in terms of your IT operations, your Oracle apps, what you have, in terms of the data and the quality of the data, what it looks like. Because one important aspect is to keep everything clean, to basically, it's almost like, if you're moving from one home into another, you want to do the house cleaning. Otherwise, you'll be taking a lot of junk with you, which you don't want to take. So in a very similar fashion, when you're doing a software upgrade, you want to be cognizant of that fact. So the next step after we do the assessment is the remediation steps. And here you may have, if you're using EBS, let's say for the last 15 years, 12 years, you probably got a lot of data in there which you may not necessarily be using anymore. Now, of course, like me in my office, I want to hoard all kinds of stuff. I print a sheet of paper, I'll just keep it thinking, I might need it. I might need it. 2 years go by, 3 years go by, and obviously there's no statutory reason for keeping information. It just sits there collecting dust. Likewise, in an instance, you may have a lot of data which no one utilizes. So you got to do an evaluation in terms of, hey, can I purge some of this data? Or better still, can I take selected data sets and archive that data and still be able to get access for business if the need arises? So that's one aspect of it. Quality. When you're talking about suppliers, you're talking about customers, items in EBS, yeah, are they all clean? you could have a customer that's still sitting in multiple applications in terms of your master data. So how do you make sure it's clean? And is it trustworthy data? Because that is very important, because if we cannot trust the data, then from an IT perspective, business doesn't trust us. We just become a support function without giving value to the business. So it's very important we look at that. And then, the last part you see, migrate to cloud. Oracle's got some, again, hats off to them. They got some very nice offerings around OCI. We'll briefly look at that and see what those are, because you can get some very good value from that also if you decided to go that route. Now, in terms of the upgrade, you're looking at standard patches. You're going to go through that, upgrade it. Then the Chemly migration. Now, Chemly is a huge thing, because in terms of custom components existing, pretty much every enterprise that I've had the good fortune to work with in terms of large enterprises, they have a lot of customizations sitting in their environment. And their biggest worry from IT perspective is, hey, what do I do with this? Can I take it with me? And how do we actually go about doing it? And then the last part, when you look up here, let me make this into a laser, it'll be easier. Carolyn, I hope I'm audible, loud and clear.
Perfect, Sid.
Perfect, thank you. Validation and testing. This is very important, because we can go through the entire cycle. We can take data, we can upgrade you, put all the data in there, but if it's not data which is usable to transact your business, then the job is only half done. So validation and testing is extremely important here. So having said that, the very first part being assessment. So what do you do in the assessment at a high level? And what I want to do today, by the way, folks, I just want to walk through what this entails toward the next phase, being the Oracle Cloudy, or you're going to the EBS R12.2. We just want to walk through that. And if you have any specific areas you want to look at, please do reach out to us. We'll be happy to do deep dive demos and things like that. So here, the very first thing it says, data volume assessment. And actually, I've had our team record a demo, and I've embedded that in this deck, so we can actually look at this, what the data volumes look like. So from a historical data usage perspective, and really in terms of access to that data, you got to look at it, because our business friends will always tell us, hey, I need that data, I need it. But you can actually factually go in and show them the utilization of that data. It's very important, because you can say in the last 3 years, nobody from your team has even looked at it. So do you really need it? Or does this lend itself to an archival layer? And you can go in with the archival layer. Similarly, on your Chemlys, on setups, we can go through and we can look at all the Chemly objects. What is the utilization? What should be the retention policy? What is the impact of the upgrade on this Chemlys? For example, your table structure may be changing. How does this impact the Chemly in the next release? That's important. Setup objects is another area where you want to be careful, because the setups people are doing manually, and that becomes extremely painful. And if you make a mistake, you just got to simply go back and start correcting. It becomes, especially instance to instance migration of that, it becomes a nightmare. So you don't want to be in that place, and we've got a nice solution for it. And of course, infrastructure planning, we'll talk about that a little bit. That's more uh, your personal choice, what kind of value you're getting, but Oracle has some nice things, around that area as well. So let me now go back into the assessment dashboards and reports. So this is what I was saying. What we've done is we've actually recorded uh, a session here. Let me see if I can play it for you. And what I'm going to do as we play through, we're talking here about Chemly object dashboards. So as we're walking through this, and please don't get hung up about having to remember all this. We'll do a deep dive demo with you if the need be. But basically, what we can give you is a drill down in each object. So actually at the tables, at the forms, at etc., we'll give you a complete view of that object. The tool can then capture the structure of the table, the column structure, give you the impact analysis on this, and give you historical usage of that object. And then when we do an assessment, if it's a custom object, we'll also tell you, is this available as standard functionality in, let's say, R12.2.11, the latest, greatest? If it's already there as standard functionality, why bother with the Chemly? We're going to retire it. We just utilize that standard functionality. So that's a big thing. And this just generally is basically walking you through what the team has done. They've kind of gone through, and pretty much I'll just fast forward a little bit so you can see. See, for example, total count by tables, by all the custom tables, it'll give you an exact inventory of that. And that's a big help when you're actually thinking about. So this is where you're collecting all the information prior to moving into the next target environment. So there's no surprises, there's no hangups. This is the biggest thing because planning is very important here. And then another thing, this archival and purge dashboards. It'll give you in terms of archival module by module and really transaction by transaction utilization of this data. So let me just stop it here and I'll kind of show you something. I'll grab it here. So you can see application wise, then applications versus the user, then per day, daily wise, where the usage is. So then you have a complete inventory of what is utilized in the system historically. So it's not like, I'm a business person. I tell you, well, no, I use it all the time. And, there's constant debate going on with IT. That should never be the case. The facts will speak for themselves. And this is important because you lay out the facts, you have an agreement in terms of a strategy to then take this information and archive it. Now, one of the things I just wanted to mention, we'll look at it a little bit more, but in terms of archival, for example, your business says, there's certain reports I want to access, especially finance people will say this. I want to access this in terms of just view screens, whether it's for statutory reasons or whether it's for the purpose of internal reporting, etc. We actually can make you the screens, even Oracle EBS lookalike screens, where you can actually go in and access that data. So I just wanted to mention to you, so a complete methodology for identification of what needs to be archived, the process for the archival, along with embedded approval process, because you don't want to archive or especially purge any data without approval from the appropriate folks. We get that through that process, we archive it. If you need to have access, we'll provide access. Another important thing to note here, we've gone through some calculations, which I'd be happy to share with you, but about, I'm moving to the cloud environment, etc. You're talking about infrastructure cost, which you can save because tons of data is sitting there, occupying space, requiring maintenance without any need for it. And if I archive, we can go into a cloud layer, which is pretty inexpensive to maintain and really to control also. So from those two perspectives, it's important we look at that. Next thing what we're going to do is when we go into another important area of remediation. So now we know we've talked in depth about the archive and purging process. So we've gone through the process. We have also touched on data quality. I want to spend a little bit time here on data quality because we have a very nice tool that can help you. So let's go with an example. In terms of data quality, our idea at ChainSys has always been, and we have been big proponents of this, and our clients tend to agree with us that guys get clean and stay clean. So what does that mean? Get clean is simply, let's say I'm taking my master data and I've got customers. My customers may be in, let's say, 3 different ERPs that I have, for example, and I may be consolidating into Oracle EBS now. My customer data may be sitting in a CRM system. I may have Salesforce. I may have some other CRM system. I may have an accounting system. Is all that data synced? Or we are at a point where we really don't know which is the single source of truth. That is important because if I have that data set and I cannot validate, I cannot convincingly go and tell my users that, yeah, I'll stand behind my data. And none of us can say that. So to assure that, what we have is we can ingest data from multiple sources. For example, we can create a hub, what we call a gold layer. We can ingest this data, clean it, and then actually that cleansed data we can push back to the source systems. If you were to retain those source systems, I just want to mention that's a different topic. We also at ChainSys build EDM layers. So here what I'm talking about on the EDM layers, ingesting data from multiple applications. Of course, all the structures are totally different. So that's what we call normalized data, comes in into what we call a bronze layer. We cleanse it, we push it to silver, then the gold is basically denormalized. Now, in an EDM environment, what we're trying to do, we're trying to clean and denormalize the data, which becomes trustworthy data that you then can consume in an analytical layer for reporting. So imagine if we as IT folks can offer our business, offer our C-level folks the ability to consume these reports. We can publish APIs, they can consume reports in different environments. We also offer analytical layers, as Carolyn was saying. But even, for example, in Power BI, they consume it. The power and the need to monetize that data really can be felt throughout the organization. And this, I'm telling you, I've seen it time and time again. This is important. This is where you can show the benefit to your teams. Now, that is a little bit on data quality. And I talk about that quite a bit because we're very passionate about it. I've firsthand seen where people struggle with it, but we can do a separate session on that. Now, again, buy versus rent, and Oracle's got all kinds of very nice information to help you with that. They're walking you through in terms of, decision making on the infrastructure side. So I won't really spend a whole lot of time here. We talked about the Chemleys, whether it's standard configurable objects where necessary, in the next target application, so on and so forth. But apart from that, one last thing I just want to mention, recommended best practices. What we can bring, we have a lot of functional experts, so we can bring you functional process recommendations in your upgrade process. This is important because a lot of times, people trying to just fit to a certain process, it may or may not suit them. So bringing the best practices into this mix really helps provoke people's thoughts and say, okay, this is a good idea. If we are struggling with this certain area, if we can do it like this, maybe it'll help us. So that is a big thing. And of course, enterprise command centers available to help with that as well in a big way. And then on setups. So in terms of setups, we can give you the best practices, how best to get the setups in there, how to move them, especially if you're moving to Oracle Cloud ERP. And I know today we're concentrating on EBS, and we do setups on that environment too, because back end, there's no touching any setups. It's just a manual process, and we can take the tedious manual endeavor out from this whole thing and just give you something that's robust and it's been kicked around a lot, and you can rely on it. Then the next thing, and this is where I was telling you a little bit about, and I'm not going to dwell on it because there's many options available. Some people saying, okay, hey, OCI is a great option. Their Oracle shop makes perfect sense. Whether you're just doing the database plus infra or just the infra. But this is a bit dated, but in terms of Oracle offering a very nice solution, see what they can do, a lot of savings in terms of cost of ownership, your performance improvements, how's your capex going to look like, all those type of things. They can really help you with this. But I just wanted to have a slide in here to kind of let you all know about. Please do look at this, whether you're with us, looking at us to help you with the upgrade, or you're talking to someone else. These are important things to look at, because without this, down the road, you may say, oh, I wish I'd done something else. So it's better to do the homework up front and then make it easy. The next thing we get into is the actual upgrade process. So obviously the very first thing that's done is the database upgrade. So our team can do the database upgrade. We can go into 12.2 dot wherever, let's say 11. We can enable the online patching, no issues there. Then once all that is done, from an application perspective, we can update to the latest code. So now you've got the latest, greatest Oracle EBS, for example, with you. Another areas to kind of think about, which a lot of folks actually miss on this part, is on this last part, the advanced configuration and product specific tasks. So what we're talking about here, if you, especially, and Carolyn was talking about it, a lot of things around security. If you're talking about the need for example, AACG or segregation of duties, if that need exists, we can help you with that. And also, like I said, with the functional aspects, how can we help around the SOD part, especially if there's a desire to improve the segregation of duties, because that's becoming a very important in terms of environment security, who has access to what data. Because as you all know, there's a lot of data breaches which are not external, but they're actually internal to an organization, where, for example, a person has access to some HR records. That's a total no-no for that person. A buyer has HR records, or for example, a buyer has access to payroll. That's a total no. But it does happen. Errors can happen, and we can help with that. So we can look at that. So that is from an upgrade process. The next thing we do is we look at, and here I say, in terms of Chemlease, I just want to go back a little bit more on this, because this is one area for the Chemly migration which really causes lost sleep. I mean, IT folks really dread this. So in terms of course, remediation, database objects, setup object, Chemly objects, all those things are there. We kind of keep moving through this. Can we utilize as a standard? Identify what are the objects that need to be migrated. So if it's standard functionality, okay, we already got that. Identify what's the objects that need to be migrated. Is there any code that needs to be changed? Very important, because if you need to change the code to make it work in the next release and you just migrate it, for sure it'll fail there, and then all hell, sorry to say, breaks loose. So now that we figured all that, we do the Chemly migration, which is again tool-based. We do pre-validation checks that you can configure yourself. So this is important, because in terms of the ROI, we can do the checks and we can give you the reports that this is what is available. And this is what we did in terms of the migration. So the Chemly reports with a view of the reconciliations available. And this is important, because without this, you'll get in a lot of trouble. And nothing goes without validation. I kind of say this, but it's one of those things where commonly people use the term, trust but verify. Of course, an able vendor coming in, they're doing all your migration, but you yourself have to have an internal process to validate. Now, are they bringing validation process to your environment? And this is what we do. We bring a validation process because that's very important. We need to verify what has been done accurately, because come that Monday morning, you go live, if you're not able to transact your business, none of this stuff matters. I could be in the latest, greatest release on the best cloud environment, but I cannot simply ship from the shop. I cannot ship a $20 part to my customer. I don't care what you did. All I care about, can you solve this problem for me? And that's important. So what I'll show you, and we've got a demo also here, a snippet of that, I should say. So here you can see what we've done. Typically this is done manually. So when we're talking about a manual process, it's difficult. It's difficult to manage. What we can give you we can give you setup comparison reports. So at the very top, your setups. Now, what we can do, let's say you got two environments. You got a source and a target. Our tool can even compare the setups and the differences thereof between the source and target. And let's say a certain setup exists in source only but not in the target. I can take the delta, the tool will migrate it. So that functionality is available. So that incremental migration, when needed, instead of people trying to break their heads doing it, and from master and transactional data, reconciliation dashboards. So here we're talking about technical reconciliation, functional reconciliation. So we can go table to table, count to count, that kind of stuff. And your compliance and governance checks you also have on your end, which you're going to bring in. And once we do this, we can automate end-to-end testing. Now, this is important because what I'll show you in a little snippet of a demo is some test bots we've set up. So for standard processes, for example, just order to cash, procure to pay, that type of stuff. And there's an example embedded in there. You can see how it works. We set the bots up, they go run it. So instead, if you having to do manually and rely on someone who's been doing this for like last 20 hours, rely on the bot. Let the bot do its job, tell you there's any discrepancies. And once this process finished, we can give you all the test reports like TE40s for the entire process. So we cover the entire cycle, and that's important. Now, I just wanted to mention a little bit about the bots. So we've got setup bots, especially important. I know today we're talking about Oracle EBS, but if you're thinking about going to the Oracle Cloud ERP, like I said, people struggle in that area. We do both Oracle EBS. You move into Oracle Cloud ERP, do give us a call. We'd be happy to walk you through standard processes for that, how we utilize our setup bots to migrate your setups. You'll save a lot of time, I assure you. You'll save a lot of time and a lot of headaches by not doing it manually. Of course, we've got test bots, business process automation, QA processes, RPAs, things of that nature. And pretty much these run unattended. So once you configure the process, you tell it, hey, this is the data flow. You go through, set up the data flow in the system. Then you run the process and it'll give you a, nay, match, mismatch. And I'll show you one here. Let me run through that and show you how it works. So first is a little bit on setups. And this runs for about, I think, around 4 minutes or so. But on the setup, what you will see is with our platform, is looking at GL, is going to compare source to target, is going to look at what's only in source, not in the target. It's going to take that delta and it has the capability to move it. But as you can see, the tool has been set up with usability in mind. Meaning, if you are familiar with Oracle, obviously you all are, you're working on this for a long time. When you look at these dashboards, it'll make sense to you. It'll make sense from the perspective, okay, it's intuitive. So once it's set up, from a usability point of view, it comes in pretty handy. And it'll give you all the metrics. So it's kind of give you the count, give you a comparison between the two environments. And that's what it's going to walk through here on the comparison side of things. And it'll take the delta and it'll migrate it. We just thought it'd be a good idea for us to embed this in our demo. And please do let us know. Please put it in the notes. Carol and I would be happy to organize a specific session for you so our team can walk you through. So see, you can see, for example, let me just stop it here a second. Source instance was EBS 12.1.3. They're moving it to 12.2.4. That's what they're doing here. They do a comparison. It's all around GL, and he's just kind of doing a walkthrough. So I'll fast forward a little bit here. You can see the next thing I want to show you is these test bots. So on the test bots, this is on R12 PO to invoice bill match. So we want to do a match, invoice to PO match. Okay, am I invoicing correctly? Is there any discrepancies, yeah, of course you can do it manually, but this is such a task that one should not be in 2023 sitting there and do these tasks manually, especially if we can automate it. So we go through, we log into our app bots, we set up a process flow simply, we execute it, and it'll run through. And you're gonna see it run through here. I'll let this whole thing play and you'll see how it is done. And as I mentioned, in terms of having the ability to configure for most business processes, if you just want to do invoice match, 2 and 3-way matching, for example, it's available. We can do that. So pretty much all the functional processes within an ERP environment, Oracle in this case, we do that. And I also wanted to mention we've been working with Oracle for a very long time. Uh, and we just it's been a good journey with Oracle for us. And our team is a very well versed in terms of functional processes, technical know-how on Oracle, and we can help you with this. Now, as you can see, is basically automating the testing. So it goes through the test process, and then again, T40 type reports are available to you for the entire process. So not only will it run it, it'll give you the reports. So it gives you form validation. So in terms of getting the sign off from business, and this is important, you get the sign off from business, because without anybody validating, after the go live, people are saying, hey, this was not done, I wanted this. No, have a process. Define what needs to be done. First, do an assessment. Define what needs to be done. Let's plan and do it. Have a strategy for sign off. Once you have those things in place, the process should run smooth because you have a good definition of the process. So this is a little bit on the bots. Do let us know if you need more in depth, and we'll be happy to kind of do a walkthrough on that as well. The next thing, I just want to kind of, because we got about 15 minutes left, what we'll do is, in summary, I wanted to give you, what is the takeaway from today's session? If you were to come, you say, what is my takeaway? What can ChainSys do for me? One biggest thing is in terms of archiving and purging. So we give you a full view, a walkthrough on what the process is. We can help you through that upgrade path. But with our tool set on the data side of things, we can identify, we can archive, we can purge, we can reduce the data set size. Second, very important thing is the quality of data. And of course, all these points are listed, but in terms of quality of data, a lot of people ask, when should I be doing quality? I just follow a very simple rule, which I think for the most part has worked for me. And that is, if you're moving from one place to another, clean house. Otherwise, don't take your junk, because you take your junk, now you're transacting in that new system. That trash data is sitting there. How many times is there really a burden on that team to get rid of that? Very seldom, because life get busy. So do the cleansing, address the data quality. Another interesting area I want to mention is not just data quality, but governance, because we can get the data clean. At one of the Gartner events, they're talking about it. Typical ERP, they say you clean everything. It's 5 to 6 months before the data gets dirty. That's all it takes, because we as humans, that's how we function. I mean, look at our desks. That's how they clutter. It's entropy in the universe, right? It'll just go take its own route. So in terms of that, you have to have a governance methodology. And we have built that into our tool set for onboarding new master data, for maintaining existing master data, and for retiring the master data. So the entire life cycle of that data we can manage with proper approval workflow mechanism in place. That's important, because without that, if you're just going in an ad hoc manner, people are exchanging Excel. I love Excel, but it's not a good tool to manage your master data. It's not going to lead to success. That's what we've seen. So that is another session, we'll be doing. Of course, at ChainSys, we can help you with the Chemly remediation, your setup migration, and the entire validation process. So that, to me, is the value. Another set of value is basically we're Oracle validated platform that we have. So everything is in line with their expectations. Another value, we'll bring you certified consultants, they're Oracle certified. We understand the end-to-end functional processes. We have the remediation strategy. And in terms of, again, I want to specify in terms of Chemlease, we can handle it very effectively. So this is pretty much what, I wanted to kind of walk through today at a high level. And of course, we'll be able to do this in much more details as subsets in terms of your interest. And I wanted to mention in terms of data quality, don't wait for the upgrade process. If you're thinking of upgrading, whether you go into next release of EBS or you're thinking about Oracle Cloud ERP, or you're thinking even some other ERP platform, do give us a call. Let us tell you how we can do a data assessment on the existing data quality, how we can improve it. Because when tomorrow you go to that next gen ERP, you should be fully ready. Otherwise, your time is going to be spent in terms of, just trying to get there. So give us a call. Our tool is basically no coding. There's no data loss. We're not using any third party. It's all our software. Another thing I'd like to offer on this session, do call us. We'd be happy to do a free assessment for you. Uh, that entails basically getting a good idea of what your environment looks like. So give us a call and we'll be happy to work with you. Again, you'll reduce the cost, you'll reduce the timelines, and here are some email addresses, one for me, one for Carolyn, uh, that you can reach out to us at any time. Folks, that's what I had to share today. I hope this was beneficial to you. I hope you got some value from it. And I hope you'll give us the opportunity to work with you. We'd love that. And now, I think we still got a few minutes left. We don't want to go all the way to the top of the hour. We want to be respectful of your time, give you maybe 5 minutes back. So, Carolyn, if you got any questions coming in,
Mhm.
let's see if we can answer some of those.
Sure thing. Thank you, Sid. That was an awesome presentation. Well, I do have a question over here. How much setup is required for bot action?
Oh, for the bots,
Mm-hmm.
because Carolyn, that's actually a wonderful question from the audience. Because we understand the processes, so we have standard processes also already built in kind of a template form. So we can configure the process flow very quickly. So if it's a standard process, we can configure the flow very quickly. If it's some customized process, you've done some extension on your Oracle process, we can take a little bit time. Our team can configure that and bring that as standard bot functionality to you in your environment. Yeah, Carolyn?
Perfect. So, can I do an upgrade to the cloud environment? So, I'm thinking of moving to Oracle Cloud ERP. Can you help?
Oh, that's absolutely we can help. Today's session, we're just talking about EBS. The reason being there's still a lot of people, believe it or not, on 11i. And now that Oracle's extending uh, their premier support to 2033, we have basically the opportunity to go to 12.2. But if you are ready for the cloud, especially if you're talking about finance, supply chain, HCM, all those things, very robust functionality available in the Oracle Cloud ERP, we'll be more than happy to help you. And I want to emphasize here, Carolyn, because there's 4 areas primarily that we get involved with. Of course, the entire upgrade process, but from a data point of view, we handle basically all data. So the first thing is from instance readiness perspective, basically your configurations or setups in Oracle, we've got that covered. We've got your master data covered, and we've got your transactional data. Now, transactional meaning open transactions and historical as well. Of course, if you move into the cloud, you're not going to take much of history. You're taking open transaction, maybe some historical perspective. You might be archiving. We've got that layer too. So certainly we can help you. Do let us know. If we need to get into a specific call, be more than happy to come there.
Perfect. Thank you, Sid. Another question. I have a finance module. How long will it take me to upgrade just the finance module?
Oh, just the finance. Okay, a typical, I would say, and again, folks, please be aware that I'm just making a judgment on a very typical finance module, average 2 to 3 months. But what we need to do is do a quick assessment for you so we can give you a better number or give you a more accurate number, I should say. But typically 2 to 3 months, yeah.
Perfect. So that's all we have for today. Thank you all for joining this session, and I look forward to seeing you on our next webinar on February 23rd. So we will be talking a little more on smart bots on that webinar. Thank you and have a great day.
Folks, thank you so much. Thanks for spending this hour with us. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy. Thank you.